Hey Shorty fans, I have my back to the sun at this flea market in Greenville, Kentucky. We're going to do a short video talking about it's the last day of a 4-day weekend. Everyone's already been to the flea market, so what are we going to find that everyone else missed, and how do we do that? Well, there is no guarantee that we will find anything that we can buy for resale and flip for a profit. One strategy is to look for people who've had things priced maybe a little bit high and they've had 3 days of selling and it's still here. That might be a motivator for them to give a discount. Or I have something big like that very pretty 1930s green stove that you see in the middle of that booth. If you're looking for that sort of thing, the last day of a market can be a great day to come shopping because these people are not excited about having to pack all of this in this hot sun. Some old grinding stones. Pioneer era or possibly Native American. This one's been painted Edmonson County, Kentucky, so we know where it came from. You can just tell the way they're formed. This is not a natural thing. The thumb fits perfectly here. They just have the feel if they're right. Well, I am buying rocks, but those are fun rocks and they definitely are the type of thing we're finding a lot of interest in right now. This is neat too. These look like they're genuine because the rippling goes in different directions. This is an old patent from the 1880s that we see with this bale. And here is the grinding stone in the pestle. So there is the whole thing. And again, you can tell it's a little lighter at the bottom from use. And then, well, I see you've got glasses here. I'm going to spend a minute on those.
$2 each. Beer. Some of them are derbies.
Yeah.
$2 each.
I'll take these 3 derby, please. For that price, I can buy the older derby glasses. Pool pottery, $20. Not a bad price, actually. It's the barrel from about 1950. Well, that was a good example right there. He said that he had the blasting caps out all weekend at a certain price and no one had picked it up. And since I was the first person who picked it up, he gave me a third off. It's also good to talk to the people. I asked him, how's it been going this weekend? And he said, well, it was real slow until today for the vintage dealers. So now that makes me think that the vintage dealers are going to stay longer and be more motivated to sell. And that may be because everybody did what I did. I was up in Louisville at a big flea market on Friday when it opened. I went to Fleur de Flea under the bridge in downtown Louisville on Saturday. I bought some great stuff there. So, you know, I was away and this is a big weekend for this market too, but it might have been more general public until today because this dealers had a lot of distractions this weekend. I love the size and design of this child's saddle. I wonder how much brownie reflex. I'm a little low on cameras, so this should be nice and hot. But it looks like it's got all its stuff. Actually, half its stuff is out on the table with a big break in it, so I guess we're leaving that one. Well, there's a perfect example. I got the saddle for $45. It's a great kid size. He had 75 on it, and he said it's just time to go because he's going to start packing up pretty soon. This fellow here is the coin guy, and he is a very honest person to deal with and has really cool stuff. Oh, thank you for letting me show this. This is a beautiful coin.
That's a $20 St. Godwin.
That's right.
I sold the $20 Liberty earlier this morning for $2,140.
And how much is the 08?
That one would be $2,150.
Yep, that seems about right. They're beautiful, and that's actually, you know, when you think of the price of gold, I mean, the extra, the numismatic premium is not that high now compared to what you're paying for the underlying. Yeah, nice coronet head.
Yes, sir. Got any large
He just has great stuff. Well, I meant what I said. He does have a good reputation. He pays fairly. I have sold stuff to him out of estates here when it wasn't something for my collection or I needed to help a client. And so I would recommend him. Now, we're at that point of the day where people are starting to pack up, and I don't blame them. They've been here for 4 days. It's hot. They've sold a lot of their best stuff, but she still has a couple of cool things. In particular, this vase, which is in my book. That's Pottery Craft with the stamp design. There's the Pottery Craft mark right there. You can remember the Three Stooges spraying each other with these spritzers, but I like the Art Deco look. Dealers who are packing up are great people to talk to at the end of a flea market. She gave me both of those pieces for $6. The other thing is to figure out things that you can repurpose. Almost every dealer runs into these carom boards. It was so popular at the time. It's fun to play. You got a chess and checkerboard. You can play 100 different games, but nobody does. So if you can come up with a use for these, like making a table out of it, for example, a game table made of these could be a really cool thing that you could sell for a lot more. So look for things you can repurpose at the end of flea markets as well. Also be realistic. If they've got 50 of something, maybe they want to get rid of it, but it also may mean that they are dealers and they know what they've got and they're taking them show to show. This is a cool thing, the Streamliner Union Pacific train. How much is the train?
It's 200.
200? Yeah, it's great. It's a good one. These folks have a big end of the thing, and they are selling everything from antique furniture to bell peppers. So we're going to take a moment in this spot because it looks like they get storage lockers and cleanouts, and sometimes you find interesting stuff in the pile of a bunch of things that look relatively new. I love the tow truck. Where'd that come from?
Oh, you can take it with you.
Yeah.
I'll make you a good deal.
It is really neat, actually. Did somebody make that, or they must have bought it like that?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. 5 cents per call. Remember, you are getting down to the end. Things might disappear before you get there, so stepping lively is also the thing at the end of the flea market. But it is getting hot outside. The last place to hit are all the indoor buildings. I always save those for last because they've got shade. And also because the buildings typically have permanent dealers, which means they're here every week. And since this is the big Labor Day swap meet, you want to look for the dealers who aren't here all the time. We've already hit most of them, and so now we are just looking for anything that we can find and that our collectors will really enjoy. Rusty Bucket is one of my favorite of the permanent shops here. He does give good deals, but boy, he's been selling all weekend. We'll see what's left. He said he's had a great weekend, and that's another strategy. Find someone who's done really well, and they may be willing to let go of other stuff because they've already made a lot of profit, so they don't need to make as much as they did before on each item they sell.
That's nasty.
First, you got to find stuff you want. My friend who runs the diner where they hang old signs all the time would probably like to have that because they go through a lot of that. There's some nice stuff I've asked about before, so that's why I'm not asking about the radio or this really cool Structo Farms truck. He's not unfair. He actually wholesales a lot, but his prices on those, well, he knows they're a little harder to get, so he's not in a hurry to get rid of them. Ooh, aluminum. We know I like this. Depends how scratched it is. Particularly the big picture, that can be a problem. Oh, and it's got dents and scratches, so unfortunately, I doubt he would split these into a set. That is something you can ask dealers, especially at the end of shows. Sometimes they're like, oh yeah, well, I'll sell the good part and make enough money to not care about the other part. But I know this guy, he's not going to do that. These great Northern Reinhold Weiss prints of Native Americans are interesting to me. I don't know whether they understand these here. This has a little bit of foxing, so it'd have to be pretty inexpensive, but I see there's another one over here as well of Morning Bird from the Blackfoot tribe, and in the right frames for the era, so we'll see how cheap they are. The kiddie accordion from Emily, well, that was done because, of course, then they were getting kids to play bigger ones when they grew up back in the 50s. There's croquet. Ooh, a Sears catalog. It's a little imperfect on the cover, but oh yeah, it's a lot imperfect on the cover, which is a problem because the covers are what sell these, but the interior is going to be full of wonderful 1960s clothes. There's for kids. Well, Dad's looking a little ordinary, but there's some good shirts. There's our kiddie accordion, and unfortunately the grill is a little smashed, so I guess we're not going to take that, but it's got great graphics. Those are real electric clocks from the 50s with advertising, and they are priced like it because everybody knows those now, it seems. Another trick is go back to places that you found things before, especially at the end of a market if you're running out of time. Go to the places that people might recognize you and give you a deal again, like this guy here. Last time I was here, I paid $2 for a bag full of stuff that made me about 30. So that is why we're back. This would be close if it wasn't tarnished. You know, folks like this who clear out storage lockers and just get a lot of random stuff, you just have to keep checking back. This is really cool, Marietta, Ohio, with an 1867 date for that foundry. This piece could have been made any time for about the next 30 years after that. It's only $40, and you know, I do pretty well with these. I usually get about 95 for them when they've got a good graphic. Somebody did a jimmying with this handle, and I think it got a hook on the end because it came from a different pot, so I'm gonna leave this, unfortunately. Another thing that's important is in your haste to get deals at the end of a market, don't make mistakes because you didn't check things over carefully. This wheelchair is another thing I bet would be a good deal. This dates from the early 1900s. It looks like it was a barn find, but it looks very complete. Well, some of those tips worked for us today, and I'm really happy with the saddle in particular. That's a real showstopper. The Native American grinding stones are very popular now, and getting a couple of those to replenish my stock was great. So I'm very pleased with the day and how we were able in 45 minutes at the end of a long flea market to find a bunch of things that we could buy for resale. So hopefully some of those tips will be helpful for you.